How a Filipino family adopted a lonely Korean teen and changed his life forever. What happens when a boy is surrounded by millions of people, yet feels completely invisible? In Seoul, one of the busiest cities in the world, Jun walked through crowded streets, but no one noticed him. At 15, he was already carrying the weight of loneliness most adults could never endure. Can a house be filled with people and still feel empty? Jun's parents had divorced years ago. His father vanished. His mother, buried in endless work, barely looked at him. Nights in his small apartment felt colder than winter itself. What if the only way to survive is to run? Every night, Jun dreamed of leaving, of finding a place where he belonged. He didn't crave wealth or fame. He just wanted a family to call his own. Meanwhile, in the Philippines, the Dela Cruz family lived in a humble home. They had little money, but their house overflowed with laughter, prayers, and love. What would happen when the boy who had nothing met the family who gave everything? Through a church exchange program, Jun was invited to the Philippines. At first, he hesitated. A foreign country? Strangers? Another place to feel like an outsider? But something whispered inside him. This could be the chance you've been waiting for. When Jun arrived in Manila, chaos surrounded him. Jeepneys, street vendors, music, laughter. Waiting at the gate was the Dela Cruz family. The mother hugged him tightly. "Mother, welcome, anak. You're a family now." How could strangers claim him as their son before even knowing him? Jun sat at their table. Rice, adobo, sinigang. The father gave him the biggest portion. The children called him Kuya. For the first time, someone saved him a seat. Not because they had to, but because they wanted to. But what happens when you long for family, yet fear you don't belong? At first, Jun struggled. He couldn't speak Tagalog. He felt clumsy. He thought, maybe they will realize I don't fit in. But every night, they prayed together, holding his hands. Slowly, the walls around his heart began to fall. The power went out one evening, a common thing in their neighborhood. Instead of complaining, the family lit candles, sang songs, and laughed. Jun thought, in Korea, I sat alone in the dark. Here, the dark feels alive. One night, under the stars, Jun asked the father, "Jun, why treat me like your son? I don't belong to you." "Father, family is not in the blood. It is in the heart." Could those words heal the wounds of years of loneliness? Not everyone approved. Neighbors whispered, "Why feed a Korean boy? You can barely feed yourselves." Jun overheard. His heart sank. He thought about leaving, but the mother stopped him. "Mother, you are our son. You stay." At first, Miguel, the eldest Dela Cruz son, kept his distance. He feared Jun would steal his place. But little by little, basketball games, schoolwork, and laughter built a bond. They fought, they teased, they shared secrets. Sometimes, the brother you never asked for becomes the brother you need most. School was tough. Jun's classmates teased him for his accent. He felt torn, not fully Korean, not fully Filipino. He wondered, who am I now? When the father fell ill and couldn't work, the family faced financial crisis. Jun began working odd jobs, carrying sacks, tutoring children, cleaning stalls. Mother, in tears, "Anak, you don't have to." "Jun, you gave me a family. Let me give something back." At 20, Jun returned to Korea. He met his mother, who broke down upon seeing him. He told her about the Dela Cruz family, how they had saved him. Would his mother accept that her son now had two families in two countries? Back in the Philippines, Jun pursued college. He studied hard, carrying the sacrifices of the family who raised him. When he graduated, his first paycheck went straight to his Filipino mother's hands. "Jun," smiling, "this is for you," she cried. "You are our greatest blessing." What happens when love crosses oceans and brings two worlds together? Jun brought his Korean mother to the Philippines. At first, there was silence. But soon, laughter filled the home as two families became one. 1 year later, tragedy struck. The Filipino father's illness worsened, and he passed away. The house fell silent. Jun wept beside Miguel. Jun, whispering, "He called me his son. I will honor him for the rest of my life." Jun stepped up. He became the breadwinner, supporting both his Korean mother and his Filipino family. Could the boy who once had nothing now become the man who gave everything? Years later, June built a home big enough for both families. At the table sat his Korean mother, his Filipino mother, his siblings, and their children. One family, two nations, bound not by blood but by love. The home was filled with laughter once again. At the dinner table sat June's Korean mother, his Filipino mother, Miguel, and his siblings, and even their children. Two families, two cultures, one table. The boy who once ate alone in silence was now the man feeding two families with one heart. Late one night, June and Miguel sat beneath the old mango tree where they used to play basketball as teenagers. The night air was warm, filled with the sound of crickets. Miguel, Kuya June, father's gone, but he'd be proud. You've given more than anyone could ask. June looked at the stars, tears welling in his eyes. June, no, Miguel, I haven't given enough. Father gave me life twice, first by calling me his son, and then by teaching me how to love. I will never stop repaying that debt. But promises made under the stars are tested most in the daylight. As years passed, June carried the weight of both families. His Korean mother grew older and needed care. His Filipino siblings wanted to study, but tuition was expensive. He worked long hours, taking on multiple jobs, teaching, translating, even starting a small business online. But exhaustion began to show. Some nights, he collapsed on his bed, whispering, June, to himself, am I strong enough for all of them? The boy who was once saved now wondered if he could save everyone else. When his youngest Filipino sister, Anna, dreamed of becoming a nurse, June secretly gave up his own chance to pursue graduate studies abroad. Instead, he handed her the money. Anna, Kuya, this is your future. June, smiling. No, Anna, this is our future. One day, you'll help others just like this family helped me. True love is not measured in words, but in sacrifices unseen by the world. But not everyone understood June's sacrifices. Some distant relatives in Korea whispered that he had abandoned his Korean roots. Others in the Philippines questioned why he worked so much instead of starting his own family. At times, June sat alone at night, torn between two worlds. June, to himself, am I Korean? Am I Filipino? Or am I just a stranger everywhere? The greatest battle June faced was not outside, but within himself. One rainy season, June fell ill. Years of overwork caught up to him. For weeks, he lay bedridden. But this time, it was Miguel who sat by his side, feeding him, fanning him, and whispering, Miguel, Kuya, you carried us for years. Now, let us carry you. The boy who was once rescued now learned the beauty of being saved in return. When June recovered, he realized something profound. He wasn't meant to carry everything alone. He began to delegate. Miguel took over some family responsibilities. Anna contributed from her nursing studies, and even his Korean relatives began helping more. For the first time, June allowed himself to breathe. He had carried the burden alone for so long, forgetting that families aren't meant to be carried by one person. They're meant to carry each other. Years later, June organized a grand celebration, his Filipino mother's 60th birthday. He invited not just neighbors and friends, but also his Korean relatives. The two cultures came together, Korean dishes beside Filipino lechon, Tagalog songs blending with Korean melodies, laughter echoing louder than language. Two nations, once strangers, now danced as one family. That night, June stood in the middle of the crowd, looking at both sides of his world united. For the first time, he no longer asked, where do I belong? Because now, he knew, he belonged everywhere love was. Time passed. Miguel married, Anna became a nurse, and the younger siblings grew into adults. June remained the steady pillar, guiding each of them. One day, Miguel's little boy ran to June and hugged him tightly. Child, Papa says you're my second father. Tears filled June's eyes. The boy who once begged for a family was now giving the gift of family to the next generation. June's story began as one of loneliness, a boy invisible in the crowd. But love has a way of crossing borders, breaking barriers, and rewriting destinies. He was Korean by birth, Filipino by heart, but above all, He was proof that family is not found in blood, but in love. One boy, two families, two nations, and a story that reminds us all, no matter where you are, no matter how lost you feel somewhere in this world, there is a place where you belong. A place called family. Fade out. Montage of both families smiling together. Jun's hand resting on the shoulders of his Filipino and Korean mothers, united. Family is what keeps a man focused in life. Please support the channel by subscribing, like and share.